Look in my eyes, nigga.
Buckroll.
Feel the vibes.
I love you, Poppy.
Yeah. Look into my eyes. Do I look surprised? I always keep my eyes on the prize, keep my eyes on my fries, cause I don't trust them other guys. You know it's fuck them other guys, they gon' be their own demise. The hate really love in disguise. Damn, time flies. Really hurt me when Johnny died. I just wish he was alive. Even though he was the devil's shot, I hope he in the sky. Looking in the sky, and I gotta wonder why. That pain run deep, and that make me wanna cry. And my grandma said be good, so for her I gotta try. If it ain't by dollar signs, I ain't trying to compromise. When I came home from the rise, we was on the rise. All jokes aside, and everybody on our side. It was only halftime, and these niggas switching sides. Always been the odd guy, but the first with a pie. Everybody got a slice, nigga. I ain't gotta lie. Money the motivation, I just made it multiply. It was never a drought. I made it rain when it was dry. It was never a doubt. When the stakes was getting high, crikey, mate, I had to step over snakes. I wrestled gators in the lakes. Lucid dreams, I had vision, so I tried to stay awake. Gotta keep your eyes open to the jealousy and hate. Know the gutter got rats and the grass got snakes, so I be in the jungle with some lions and some apes. And my homie that's had in my eye on me was from grapes. He told me you blessed and highly favored, Islam alaikum. And ever since I pray with my palms, sometimes I pray to my pops, I pray to his moms. Only go where God make me, that's the way of Islam. The key right over the cage, they don't see the objectives. I've been locked inside the cage, so I see your perspective. They just in a box, and I'm thinking outside of that. Matter of fact, only zoo animal that can thrive in any habitat. Still can't believe I'm alive, and knowing I'm the king of my tribe. And I ain't had the courage to care, and I hate to be a burden, but I always take their burdens to bear. If they call, I'm on go like emergency there. If I call, I just see there ain't no urgency there. One thing for sure, and two things certainly clear. I'll be here for a while, and I ain't going nowhere. I looked into the eyes of a killer, and I held his gaze. He said I was him in a different stage. It was a maze, like a lion stuck in a cage. I'm in a rage, that's why every day I pray that one day I'll be saved. Trapped in a maze, it's dark and hell is hot. I'm going up in a blaze. I'd rather die being free than to live like a slave. So before you take me to the jail, bitch, hang me on the stage. Don't take me to the cell, bitch, take me to my grave. They threw salt on my name, guess it needed the flavor. I took over the game with a bunch of aces and spades. My pops got popped on the block that I stayed. Sometimes I wish pops could have stayed, so I ain't had to hit the block to get paid. I was on the block when the cops did the raid. They ran up in the spot, that's when they took a leg. And to get them niggas back, I give an arm and a leg. That's why looking in the eyes of a killer is brave. Look in the eyes of a killer, tell me what you see. Fire, pain, misery, or a mix of the three. Looking at a killer I see, he no different from me. Smoking weed helps killers forget evil deeds, watching people bleed till they leave, trying to breathe so they wheeze. No, it's grassy, pardon me, pardon me.
Purchase your track today.
Shout out to my nigga Freaky Fido on the YouTube was good though. We back with another episode of the podcast. I forgot what episode this is, but whatever episode it is, you tuned in now, nigga.
Sure is.
What up with it though, Big Brody?
Chilling, chilling, chilling. You know how we do.
Already, my nigga. You know what I mean? I know we doing it kind of late today, but it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? And y'all see the title of the video. So I mean, we ain't like we about to procrastinate or nothing. We about to get to it. About to spark my blunt too though. But you know what I'm saying? What I call it, the female nature and being afraid to move forward with relationships. That's the topic, and that's what we're going to discuss. But I'm gonna say from right now, this point on, if you're listening, this does not apply to every female living. This is not about every single female. This only applies to the ones who are afraid to move forward with relationships and friendships. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Not all people go through the same things that some people go through, but there is a certain demographic of people that, like to hesitate, bullshit, procrastinate, and everything else of that nature because of what they're scared of.
Right. Now,
So again,
go ahead.
yeah, but again, if it don't apply to you, don't take it the wrong way.
Yes. Now, my opinion is a lot of the time they don't realize that they're repeating like the same action over and over again, but expecting different results is actually the definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only way I can see it, you know what I'm saying? Some people be stuck in that loop. They can't get out of it, you know what I'm saying? You call it NPC, I call it SMIs, you know what I'm saying? Simple-minded individuals, but it is what it is. It's all about the same, you know what I'm saying? They stuck in that loop. They don't know how to get out of it.
Yep, that is true. Like I can agree with you on that. It is a certain demographic of people that constantly go through the same things, and instead of them learning the lesson, they just shrug it off and just be like, "Well, you know what? It's cool. It's fine. It's whatever." And then they end up repeating the same process, just in a different color.
Right.
I call it palette swaps.
Palette swap, explain.
Well, a palette swap is like this. It's a term used in fighting games. It's basically like, you pick a character, they play the same and everything else, but it just got a different color or a different form. Prime example is Street Fighter. Street Fighter got a lot of palette swap characters in their game. And one of the examples I'm going to use, everybody might be familiar with Ryu. Ryu is, a person that shoot fireballs, that do a little spin kick and everything else. But then you got Ken. Ken do the same thing as Ryu. And he basically dressed the same as Ryu. He just got a different color. Right. But then you got another character like Akuma. Akuma do the same thing as Ryu. It's just a different color. The only difference between these three individuals is the power behind it and the speed. And that's literally it. But other than that, they are literally the same character, just different colors or slightly different. And that's it. Palette swap.
Okay, you're right. I want to add one more name to what you just said, though. The Brazilian kid, Sean. So I used to fuck with him. He's still first black guy. But,
yep. Sean play exactly like them. It might be like, he might be, his moves might be slightly different, but it's literally still the same. It's just like I said, it either look different or it's either a slight difference in speed or something like that. It's like a little alterations here and there, but it's damn near the same character. So I can fully agree with you on that one. A lot of people tend to repeat the same cycles over and over again. And because they're not self-aware of it and it's something familiar to them, they basically end up doing the same thing again, right. Which is, like you said, insanity. because you expecting a different result when you already know how it's going to go.
Right. And many times in those type of situations, they will have people telling them the truth or being very honest with them about it. But what I notice a lot of times is they be in denial or either be
Yeah,
delusional.
yeah, I can fully agree with that.
You know, but the universe gives everybody signs, but especially, the females that are stuck in these particular situations, say like they'll have friends and family members, girlfriends trying to tell them and be honest with them, be a buck about it. But for whatever reason, or however they feel in that moment of time, they just can't allow themselves to process that until it's too late. And then when it's too late, they always cry and try to play victim.
That is true. Like, and the crazy thing is, like, people gotta come to realize or even pay attention, like, that when you ask for certain things or ask for certain answers, you're going to always get those answers in the most unlikely form, but it will be a form to where whatever you had asked, it's an answer. It don't matter, your answer could be anybody, anything, any incident, and everything else, because the simple fact that you asked. So it's like you gotta, pay attention to it and shit like that.
Right. Right. Now, I don't know why it is they do this or why it's, well, I mean, because it's really not just feminine nature. A man is capable of this as well, but you mostly see it amongst females. So when a guy does see one of his guy friends going through it, it confuses him also because he's like, why are you acting like a female? You know?
Yeah, that's true too. Because I've noticed that with well, basically in some cases, if it's a man that's basically, I guess you might as well say he doesn't want to come to terms with it because somehow it's like deep down he kind of always knew, but he kind of puts it in the back of his head. It's like when he hears that truth from somebody else, or or the truth is confirmed to him by the means of whoever they're dealing with, or whatever the case may be, it's like they become in denial because it's like, nah, this can't be true. But it's like the whole time you knew this was true. You just chose to ignore it and hope that you could change that. And, I can say as a man that has been in similar situations like that, that as a man, we do tend to try to fix things that are already broke, that aren't broken or can't be fixed,
Yeah, I agree with you on that. As men, we do like to problem solve and we like to fix things. So yeah,
Yeah, and it fuck us up in the long run because sometimes you'll end up wasting years in trying to fix something that wasn't ever broke. And like I said before, sometimes the people that you deal with, sometimes they're just people that you're only supposed to have fun with, and that's it. I mean, it's all right to live in the moment. Sometimes it's all right to even, dabble in sexual activity. But, at the end of the day, I mean, it ain't but so many times a person can show you exactly who they are, and you just choose to ignore it because you know, afraid of losing that person. And necessarily you ain't got to lose that person because you can still, have that person as a friend, associate, someone you hang around with or go have a good time with and shit like that. So, you're not really losing nothing, but I feel like a lot of people, the majority of the time, they fear the loss of that person because it's like they somewhat feel like, man, I hope that, this person gonna change. Like I want to be there when they change so I could be the first person to see it or enjoy it or, embrace it and all this other type shit. And it's like sometimes, bro, like you're not meant to be there. You're not meant to be there when that person fully changed into something else. Cause you know, that person might not even be, you know, self-aware to them being the way that they are and shit like that.
Right. You know, and I know you could agree with me on this, but I see this quite often. Also, a female might have fucked with a dude to the point where he's pretty much imprinted his lifestyle upon her, and that's what she's used to. And so they might break up, and in her mind, she believes that she's trying to move forward and find somebody else to, to entertain and to have a relationship with. But at the same time, she's really still chasing after the last dude and somebody else.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that because that go right back to being a palette swap. Because realistically, when a man imprints on you and that man leaves you, yeah, you might say you're not really out there looking for nobody that's like him and all this other type shit. But realistically, if you don't do that work, that cleansing of your body from that man imprinting on you, you always gonna end up finding somebody that's exactly like that man and everything else. Which, you know, basically that man that imprinted on you and left you was literally your life lesson or whatever. And the fact that you didn't learn from it and truly grow from it and cleanse yourself of it, you're going to constantly keep repeating that and going after that somebody that reminds you of that man in some way, shape, or form. And that's what really fucks, you know, a lot of people up for real. Because shit, like you saying, oh, I'm healed, I'm this and I'm that, but you're not healed. You haven't learned your lesson and you haven't done the work. Because if you did, you wouldn't go nowhere near the same situation, but slightly different. Because no matter what you say, it's still the same situation. It's just either moving a little bit slower or it's moving a whole lot faster or it's doing a loop the loop, but it's still going to the same destination.
Right. Right. Do you mind speaking a little bit more on that cleanse you was talking about? Not too many people actually mention that as far as when you split up from a relationship, you know, saying they talk about like soul ties and different connections, but nobody ever mentions like the cleanse after the relationship.
Yeah, so basically what it is, like, and you know, I've also fell victim to this too, as well. After you bond with somebody, you know, and you basically bond with them by being intimate with them sexually and stuff like that, you basically temporarily become one. So a little bit of them spill over to you, and a little bit of you spills over to them. And in that process, that's why you end up being once y'all break up, that's why you end up being attracted to people that somewhat replicate that very same thing of that person and everything else. So what you're supposed to do is, as a woman, you are supposed to you're supposed to clean yourself, you know, I guess douche or whatever the case may be is, and you have to be celibate for I want to say uh I'm gonna say maybe like a month or whatever, just you know, just the 28 days or whatever until your cycle come on. But during that time, somewhere with before your cycle come on in them 28 days, you have to fast for either 36 hours or either 40 hours. But I'm gonna just say 36 because now a lot of people can do that on their first try. You feel me?
Yeah.
But you know, so you have to fast. You don't have to complete, you don't have to do a dry fast, meaning that you don't, you know, that you don't put nothing in your body. You can still put like, you know, fruits, juices and shit like that, but don't eat no meat, don't do none of that. Eat everything that's like basically high in you know, I guess I'm gonna say vibration because meat is a low vibrational thing because it's dead and it's, you know, it's dead, it's low vibration. So fruit, anything that's in high vibration. You can eat that during your fast and stuff like that, but you literally have to fast so you can break that so-called tie or soul tie or that imprint from off of your body and everything else. Because if you don't, all you're gonna do is look for what you had in that the person that broke your heart and the next person. And that's why majority of the time a lot of people end up like, you know, getting into new relationships and then pretty much like fussing about things that aren't really occurring or that, you know, haven't occurred yet and everything else because you brought your troubles from the last lesson to the new lesson with, you know, without really truly being self-aware of it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what that is.
Oh no, you said a lot, man. Goddamn, that was a whole little education moment right there. But yeah,
yeah.
No one, like I said, no one really speaks about that. And you often see that a lot. Yeah. She'll move on from one relationship but bring the trauma from that last relationship into this new situation when it's supposed to actually be a fresh start. You know what I'm saying? It's wicked, but you nailed it on the head.
Yeah. That's all it is. Just people just bringing things from one thing to another without really realizing it and stuff like that. That's why I say it's real important for people to be self-aware of when someone breaks up with you, you really do need to actually sit down and look at the entire situation unbiased, meaning that you can't just sit there and point out all the things that that person did, what was wrong. You need to point out the things that you did wrong, and you need to, you know, basically weigh them out honestly. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit there and be like, oh, well, I didn't really do nothing. And you know goddamn well you was in your phone texting Douglas talking about something. Oh, I'm about to slide over there and give you some of this Gok 3000 and shit like that while you was dealing with that nigga. Even though this nigga cheated on you like 5 or 6 times beforehand, you still need to count that as well. And you need to honestly, you know, weigh it out and then look at it and see where you fucked up at and to see where he fucked up at. And you need to, you know, learn your lesson, you know, tell yourself, you know what, I forgive him. You know, whatever I did, you know, I take responsibility for. And then, you know, and stuff like that. And you need to remember all the traits and all this other type stuff that this man had. So that way, if someone comes back in your life again, you know, the next person you deal with, if they display any of those signs, and I mean any of them, it don't matter if they do it with a hook or they do it with a zigzag. If it's the same thing, you need to kindly tell that person that they are not who you are looking for and to move on. Because the moment you do that, after you had already accepted your fault and that's how things are, and this is your lesson, and you learned it completely, you will literally get everything that you ever wanted in the next person. That person can heal you, will completely heal you. That person can be your best friend where you can act yourself. You ain't got to show off. You ain't got to do nothing. And realistically, that person will end up pushing you to grow and evolve into something completely different. But you will still remain, you'll be a better version of yourself, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Without the negativity, without the doubt, without the pain, without the anger and all this other type stuff and everything. You just got to do that. Only thing I could tell people is don't be afraid of change. You know, embrace who you are.
Yeah. You're right. And I mean, I can speak from experience. It's happened to me before. Dealing with a female, new relationship or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? The beginning of it, everything's sweet and cool, but kind of get comfortable with each other. And then, you know, for whatever reasons, like, yo, she tripping. She tripping.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to turn around. She trying to start an argument. She tripping. But it was, like you said, she didn't take out the time to find herself again and free herself from that past relationship, that past experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been through the same similar thing. You know, And I'm not even gonna lie, I that person became my lesson. I didn't learn it. And I'm not even gonna front. I started messing with a lot of people that somewhat reminded me of her, and I kept repeating the same lesson until I just finally said to myself, you know what? I'm not about to deal with nobody like that in no way, shape, or form. I can't do that because all I'm gonna do is basically keep hurting myself, and I don't want to do that. So I had to learn my lesson, and I ended up doing it or whatever. You know, I mean, I ain't got no hatred towards the person that first taught me the lesson, but I can literally say a lot. I ended up messing with a lot of people that reminded me of her because of certain quirks or personality traits or comfortability and shit like that, and all the other type shit. So I can fully agree with that. That you know, sometimes we sometimes us as men too, we fall for the lessons multiple times and fail and everything. So
Right. And something a lot of women have to realize too is like when you can't really move forward from that past relationship into a new one, like the new person you dealing with, oftentimes you really can end up hurting and breaking that person.
yeah, that is true. Like I can fully agree with you on that because honestly, like if you know that, see this my thing with that because it's like if you have two choices and you can move forward and get the real life lesson that the everything that you ever wanted, or either go down the path of repeating the same thing again, it's like, okay, choose. I mean, if you self-aware of it, and people is telling you that, then go to the thing that you need to go to so you can be happy. Like, don't teeter-totter in between, fucking with the lesson that you just gonna make you fail versus, fucking with the shit that, is the end goal and what's going to give you everything that you really, really need, and shit like that is just stupid. Like, you shouldn't do that because, like you said, you're going to hurt that person because that person is sitting there like they're trying to help you be a better version of yourself, or, and everything else. Like, you can't do that. Like, it's stupid
Right.
because all you do is basically shit. To be honest, by doing that, you ain't doing nothing because, like, yeah, you ain't doing nothing, but basically creating a negative karma that's gonna come along with you after you learn your lesson. Because no, after you fail your lesson again. Because when you fail it again, the pain that you inflicted onto that person that did nothing wrong to you and tried to do best for you is going to literally come back on you after you failed the lesson that you failed during the time of you, learning and shit like that. So that means randomly you might have some shit that happened to you that might just be so heartbreaking and unbearable. You might just want to just, end it all or some shit like that. But realistically, that was your that was your universal karma
Yeah.
because the universe sent you the person that was going to heal you to be a better version of yourself, but you still rather had chose, the same path that you constantly been failing over and over again, the palette swap. So, when the universe passed that, that karma back to you to say, hey, you fucked up and this what you deserve. Like, you can't be mad at it because you brought that on yourself because deep down you knew right from wrong because you had multiple choices. You could have went to the right side or whatever, or go to the wrong side, and you chose to go to the wrong side. So whatever happened to you just happened to you. You can't blame nobody but yourself.
Real talk though. And there's just something I want to tell all the fellas that's gonna be listening to this. pay attention to how females are around their friends. You feel me? A lot of them might be like they can't be cool with other females, but pay attention to that. You feel me? Like are they good friends to their female friends? Is she, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, she a good sister to her sister? Is she a good cousin to a female cousin? You know what I'm saying? How's their relationship like? You know what I'm saying? If she can't be a good friend to another woman, how's she gonna be a good friend to you?
Mm-hmm. That's also very true. And the majority of the time is a lot of females and a lot of males, they have a universal friend beside them telling them, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, or hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And and for some reason this friend, male or female to either gender, can basically have all the answers that they're looking for when they ask the question, because the universe uses them as a vessel to speak to you and give you the answers that you need. And the majority of the time, a lot of these people end up either cutting these friends off, or calling them fake, or not dealing with them no more, all because of them not being able to face the truth that they asked for. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? For real though, pay attention, man. She telling you stuff like she rather hang out with guys. You gotta keep in mind, like that's a lot of masculine energy. Why does a female that's supposed to be feminine want to be around so much masculine energy?
Yeah,
If
that's
she's
true.
around that type of energy, that's the energy she's gonna absorb.
Yeah. But then that also plays a factor of her not cleansing herself, because, when she had sex with whoever she had sex with, and a little bit of him spilled over to her and a little bit spilled over to him, majority of the time when you have that kind of energy in your body, you gravitate to people of that nature. And not a lot of people notice that. And the same thing with a man. When you end up, getting stuff from the woman from her side, you kind of sort of gravitate towards women that acted like her at once upon a time and shit like that. That's why I say it's important for somebody to fast. It's important for somebody to cleanse themselves, because if you don't, you might end up gravitating to the next. You might gravitate to the next person that used to act just like that person, which would cause you to kind of ignore the signs that previously happened to you in your last relationship, because of the simple fact that realistically, you basically you still in love with the memories of that person, and you seeing those memories in the new person.
And I don't know why this is, but for some reason, it's like whoever the guy is that hurt them the most, that's the one they want to emulate.
Mm-hmm. That's part of the bonding experience with the whole cleansing thing and shit like that, because when you give stuff to her and she gives stuff to you, the majority of the time with females is like the person that was supposed to be their life lesson will hurt them so much or so deeply that they can't fathom it and they can't believe it happened to them. And the thing that people gotta understand, females are way more emotionally tapped into their emotions than we are. So something like that, with somebody hurting us or cheating on us, could hurt us and shit like that. We might sit in silence, but we really crying inside. They'll literally be crying on the outside, but the damage inside will be a billion times greater. And because of that, your body is going to respond to pain, any type of pain that is, inflicted onto you, even if it's mental, spiritual, or whatever the case may be is. And if it's too great, your brain will try to figure out a way to help you from this crazy, this hurtful situation. So what happens is they take that residual energy that's in your body and create an almost damn near an alternate personality with bits and pieces of him, because you deem that person as a strong individual, and you start to have little personality traits of that person that hurt you, which is basically what I said in a previous podcast episode. It's called a trauma blanket, well, trauma shield, because whatever time that person hurts you, your brain will literally create a shield over you, which is your new personality with bits and pieces of him as your traits and shit like that, to protect you until you decide to come out and heal. But what happens is a lot of people go the rest of their lives with that very shield on and everything else, acting like that person. And sometimes that shield gets multiple layers of different individuals, but they all act the same as the person that hurt you at first, which basically causes you to, I guess, gravitate to more masculine energy. You act more masculine and shit like that because of the multiple layers of men that hurt you that all acted the same as the first one.
Okay. It makes sense though, I guess same reason why someone that has been abused tends more than likely to go back to the abuser over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Because it's just like it's a mental thing. It's like the greatest thing that hurts you or whatever will pretty much be the thing that you go back to because it's something familiar. Because you do have a lot of people that feel like, oh, that the certain things that people do is right, or they'll try to make excuses up for it and everything else. And it's like, nah, it's not an excuse. Wrong is wrong and right is right. If that person did something wrong to you and everything else, it was wrong. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like, don't make excuses for it. And, all that, like, oh, I gotta forgive him, da 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 da. Like, nah, don't do that. Because the moment that you forgive them is the moment that they might do it again. Because realistically, if a person got to lie and all the other type shit go behind your back and everything else, then that's what they wanted to do. You know what I mean? I mean, it's more, a person has way more respect to you. Well, a person has way more respect for you if they come to you with the gun in their hand and tell you that they're going to shoot you than you do a person that wait for you to turn your back and shoot you.
Yep.
I mean, because realistically, the person that pulled the gun out in front of you and told you I'm going to shoot you is probably the person that's going to sit there and probably think about it before they do it, and probably got a higher chance of walking away than a person it is that you got your back turned against and them, pulling the trigger, because they ain't got nothing to think about, because they're like, all right, I can get this motherfucker. I can pop him right now and he gone. And he won't even know who did it. He get away scot-free. But a person that's standing in your face with the gun will literally sit there and be like, man, you know what? I ain't gonna do it. You got it, bro. And then just walk off or shit like that.
And then sometimes too, and this applies for both sexes, male and female. A lot of times we could just get in our own way, and we really the reason why we can't move forward. We stopping ourselves.
Mm-hmm. You when you don't become self-aware of your thing and you become stuck in your ways, that means whatever person you come in contact with, the majority of the time, you're really the problem, and it's not them.
Real deal.
And I think a lot of people don't come to terms with that. Is that when they get stuck in their ways and they don't want to take advice from other people and, you know, try to learn and grow from whatever the fuck happened to them, they end up basically becoming the problem to whatever situation they get in and shit like that because they didn't learn the lesson. And instead of them taking accountability for what they did, they just put all the blame on that person.
No, real deal.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this in the conversation yesterday, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that person could steal your blessings. Like what was actually meant to be your blessing, the other person ended up stealing.
Mm-hmm. That's what basically happens because, you know, when you stick around with somebody that you ain't supposed to be with, that you know, that's your life lesson. You know, life tends to get a little bit hard for you and fucked up things start to happen to you. And the crazy thing is the fucked up things is really meant for y'all to separate so you can learn the lesson or you can end the lesson right there. But the fact that, you know, us as people, we have free will and our free will is very powerful. We end up making a way or, you know, making a way to fix the situation before it goes too deep. Like, you know, like for example, you could have somebody that you ain't supposed to be with and y'all going through it and fussing and arguing and all this other type stuff. And then boom, y'all might get a out of nowhere eviction letter on your door and stuff like that, you know, saying, hey, y'all gotta go. And you know, you sitting there thinking to yourself, like, well, damn, you know, I paid the rent. What the hell they talking about? You know, that ain't nothing but the universe telling you, hey, you know you ain't supposed to be with this person. You know y'all, you know, y'all a little toxic. Well, y'all toxic, not a little toxic, but y'all toxic. You know, and y'all ain't supposed to be together. You know, it's time for you to separate from this person and go your way, and you go that way, and they go their way. But people will end up, you know, finding a way to, you know, stay with that person. And it's like you ain't doing nothing but making the next separation, the next universal separation more harder for yourself because the next time, oh, you know, your car might break down. You go get that fixed. You know, now y'all still together. Then the next time after that, you might break an arm because y'all done got into a domestic violence altercation. You know, your arm get fixed. You still with that person. Now the next lesson after that, 9 times out of 10, is really the mental lesson. Is when things start to get heavy because once you start getting into depression and, you know, suicide thoughts and everything else, the next lesson, you know, and shit like that, anything dealing with the mental, the next step for you is probably the death lesson, which would end up making you, you know, cost you your life because you wanted to keep messing with something that you wasn't supposed to continuously messing with. That's why you got a lot of people out here that, you know, they end up shooting their wives and killing themselves or killing the kids because, truth be told, they wasn't supposed to be dealing with that person. But you know, they wanted to stay in that situation so bad, it got to the point to where their mental got the, you know, universal push or separation and shit like that. And now, you know, they doing some crazy shit. So
Man, I ain't never think of it that way till now, but you're right though.
mm-hmm.
You're right. Staying in that toxic situation, in that toxic environment, it drove them what some people would say crazy or mad, but it took a toll on their mental mind state.
Mm-hmm. To the point to where they just said, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna take this person's life, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. And, you know, it's crazy because it's like there's a lot of people out there that really be staying in situations that they ain't supposed to stay in just because they scared of the what ifs and the change that comes with it because they don't know what's going to happen. They don't know where they're gonna be at, and they don't know how they're gonna feel, so they get scared of it and they just stick to what they know. And it's like, nah, don't stick to what you know. Just go ahead and leave, man. Like, you know,
Move forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Move forward, face your fears. I mean, the moment that you move forward is the moment that you're gonna have everything you want. I mean, if you do what the universe tell you to do, when it's time for you to do it, the universe will reward you for it every time.
Well, no, you're right, because people tend to make excuses just to stay in the situation, but at the same time, it's like at the same time they know they're not supposed to be in the situation, but they can't help but go back to it. And like you said, it's their familiarity, but it just, I mean, I don't know, it kind of gets you.
Mm-hmm. It really does. Because, like I said, I've been in situations like that. You know, it was a girl I was dating. Matter of fact, because you brought her up the other day, about your Facebook memories and stuff like that. I dated that girl, and I ain't gonna front. Like, I was genuinely in love with this girl and stuff like that. She made me feel things that I ain't never felt before. To be 100% honest, she really kind of taught me how to love and shit like that, or what love was supposed to feel like.
Okay.
But there were some things about her that was a little, off. And what I mean by that is that she did have a little bit of toxic traits with her. And her toxic trait is that she trusted people that she should not have trusted. And, as a stipulation of dating her, as a person, who kind of thought he knew what love was and what she was supposed to do, as a person, I told I wanted to give her better. So what I did, I moved out of state so I could give that person better. And as a process, I can say for myself that I was wrong for the situation because I didn't talk to her about it. I just went ahead and made the judgment call and just on my own. And, she was hurt about it, but I told her, give me 1 year or whatever, and I got you. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get you. You're going to have your house. You're going to be straight and all this other type shit. We're going to get married. We're going to do the whole 9 yards and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say maybe 4 months of me being gone and out of state. She just completely stopped talking to me. Like, she didn't speak to me. She didn't do nothing. All that other type stuff. She was messing with a dude that, I don't know, he was doing some shit to her. People were saying he was like locking her in closets and stuff like that. He wouldn't let her out. And me being the person that I was at the time, I wanted to fight the dude because it's like, why the fuck is you treating her like that of all people? She ain't do nothing wrong to you. Me not knowing the entire thing, to this very day, I still think it's fucked up. But I don't know the entire story. I just think that it's fucked up. But like I said, then eventually, we stopped talking and everything else. And next thing I know, the next time I saw her, she was pulling up in my grandmama's driveway, because I had a court obligation or whatever. And I didn't really tell anybody that I was coming down. Like, I ain't talked to this girl maybe like in 2 years after that. And it was like out of nowhere, she just pulled up in my driveway. And I'm just sitting here, shocked beyond belief and everything like that. Like, oh God, like she, like, the person that that I'm still madly in love with is right here.
Yeah.
But little did I know she was getting out of a car with somebody else, which during that time she was dating that person.
Right.
And I want to say the whole time there was altercations between. Well, I'm not gonna say altercations. There were misunderstandings between me and the person that she was dating, because this person knew that she dated me. And I guess that person seen me as a threat to his norm, basically. So, but I guess they stopped talking for a while and she started chilling with me and stuff like that. And, I tried to let her know, like, hey, I have a life for you and everything else, how about you come there so I can, do what I said I was gonna do. And, she told me what I wanted to hear. I'm not gonna front. She told me exactly what I wanted to hear. So when it was time for me to go, she wouldn't answer the phone. She wouldn't answer the phone or anything like that. And, by the time I left and got back to where out of state, I'm looking on the internet and shit like that. She right back in the same position again with the person, that she pulled up in the car with. So, I just left it at that. And I'm not even gonna lie, like the shit, it kind of hurt me, or whatever the case may be is. But I still had hope, and that's the shit that kept fucking me up, is that I kept having hope for this person. And it was like every person that I kept dealing with during that time of having that hope they somewhat reminded me of her. And I ain't gonna front. Eventually, it started kind of like getting to me because it started piling up and piling up and piling up of all the pain and depression. And then one day, like we was talking, and I found out my parent, well, not my parents, but my grandparents, were coming up there. And I told her, well, how about you just, get a ride, with them, start your new life and everything else. And, again, she told me what I wanted to hear. And she turned around and said, okay. I was like, all right, well, since you already know my grandmother and them, just call them or go around the house. I already told them that you was going to come and everything else. And, you could start you a new life and everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the living room all day, patiently waiting. I figured that maybe she didn't have a phone or something like that, so I couldn't really call her. So my grandma and them had popped up, and like I'm sitting here, I'm like smiling from ear to ear, and I was like, my grandma and them came in first, so I'm thinking, well, she about to come in behind them and stuff like that. So I asked my grandma, I was like, where's she at? She behind y'all and stuff like that. She outside in the car. And my grandma and them looked at each other, and then they looked at me and was like, no, she didn't come. She didn't come. We tried to wait for her. We tried calling her, and she didn't pick up the phone. So we just left and came up here. And just to hear that, kind of like it, like I'm not gonna lie. This is what, like 2014 or something, I want to say. Yeah, like 2014. It devastated me. Like it hurt me beyond belief. And I sat there and I, smiled in front of my grandparents while they was there visiting me. And but the whole time I was broken inside. I was. And after my grandparents had left, I just broke down. Like I completely broke down and everything else, and cried like a baby and shit like that, curled up in the fetal position and shit. And I just told myself, like, I asked the universe, like, shit, am I worthy of having love, or whatever the case may be is. I can't remember what the answer was, but I guess the answer was yes. Because I mean, shit, years later, you might as well say I kind of pretty much fell for the lesson maybe like two more times after that. But once I pretty much learned the lesson completely, it was a wrap. Like I got everything I wanted. I got a house now. Where I got me a little apartment now. I got somebody that I can look at every day and smile and be happy and everything else. I got somebody that literally has the ability to not only reciprocate that feeling of love to me, but they also know how to express it. Because I've always been the type to where I always put that person first above me. But this person does the same thing that I do. And as, reciprocation, it's like an infinite loop of us, us always pushing the other person up and everything else like that. So, shit. It was a long lesson, but goddamn, at the end of the day, it was worth it. Like for real, it was really worth it. You know, now I got me, my special person or whatever. We gonna be having a child soon and everything else, and every day I just smile with a big smile on my face, with gratitude because I actually took the time to listen to the universe and take the advice of moving forward and not being afraid of what could happen next. I just let it happen.
Nah, you're right though, bro. Shoot, I feel you on that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I done been there, done that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking I'm in love, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of was, but it was the soul tie too, you know what I'm saying? Like a on-off relationship, but it wasn't until I gathered the courage to say, you know what, I got to move on from this, bro. I can't keep on dealing with this same person because, you know what I'm saying? Like the same thing just keep on happening. And at some point, I have to have my inner peace and my state of mind, you feel me? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So stop dealing with that person. And it's like I was able to rediscover who I was because, you know, for a little while, it's kind of like I forgot who I was in this situation.
Mm-hmm. That shit does happen though, because we do end up losing ourselves as a part of that lesson, because we end up trying to please that person that we ain't supposed to be with, and shit. Most of the time, like you'll be surprised what the fuck you lose, and then when you rediscover yourself and brighten your horizons, you learn things about yourself you didn't even know.
Deal. I mean, well, YouTube, I ain't gonna cap. I think that's gonna be about it for this one. We did chop it up nicely for y'all for moving forward and shit. Think what we might do is start posting like the cash app or something. If y'all want to make like donations, y'all can. But you know what I'm saying? Ain't like I'm expecting somebody to actually make a donation. But if y'all do, that's cool too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you donate, you donate. If you don't, you don't. Either way, we still appreciate y'all for tuning in, watching, kicking it with us, listening to our thought processes, and hopefully, one day we can probably get to start changing the world and shit like that, changing how social media is when it comes down to these gender wars and all this non-self-awareness of certain things and shit like that and everything else.
Right. Because you know the goal is for men and women just to be able to be in a natural state. You know what I'm saying? And stop hating each other.
Mm-hmm. To enjoy yourself and enjoy your peace and be yourself, no matter what it is, goofy, silly, happy, just be that or whatever. The whole goal, it ain't for financial gain or nothing like that. Like we genuinely want to help people so they can finally experience what life is.
Right. I mean, because it's too much content of a woman blaming a man and a man blaming a woman, and it's just too much of that. At some point in time, we have to take accountability for what we done. You know what I'm saying? Take
Yeah.
accountability for your own actions.
Yep. Because like I said in the beginning of this episode, a wise man once said, you don't go to the club or a party looking for love. You go there to have a good time. And sometimes the people that we end up dealing with or just people we were supposed to have a good time with.
Right. Right. Some people are here for a reason. Some people are here for seasons.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it wasn't you, but sometimes it could have been you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You just gotta, look back at it, take your time, heal, and become self-aware of it.
Right. Until the next episode, YouTube. Like I say at the end of each one of these, everybody be blessed, everybody be prosperous. You know what I'm saying? And y'all be safe out there. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Until next time.
Peace.